Welcome to the Nevis Newscast for Thursday, September 24th, 2020. I am Freddie Liebert. The Nevis Island Administration continues its ongoing efforts at a more open and transparent government. Premier the Honourable Mark Brantley made that assertion at his Tuesday, September 22nd press conference.
One of those developments has also been now a meeting that I was able to convene on the 4th of September with the parliamentary opposition in Nevis, the Honourable Cleone Stapleton Simmons, representing the Nevis Reformation Party. I would want to go on record to thank the Honourable Cleone Stapleton Simmons for a very frank exchange of views. I was able to update her on our COVID-19 response, reopening of our schools, the financial state of the island at this time, and a range of other issues that she raised with me. I would wish to go on record to thank her for her dialogue and to commit to regular meetings of this nature. I think that we must get to a point where all ideas in our country contend, and the ruling party and the ruling government doesn't necessarily have a monopoly on ideas. And so I'm prepared to listen, and for those who are prepared to speak, we are prepared to have that dialogue. And I certainly would want to thank the Honourable Cleone Stapleton Simmons for that fresh breeze that she has brought to the approach for interaction. And so I'm very, very grateful for that and for that opportunity to engage with her, as indeed we have done.
Premier Brantley noted that he is proud of his government's record to date.
This government I have been privileged to lead was the entity that operationalized integrity in public life. As Premier of Nevis, I and my cabinet created history by being the first ones to actually file our Declaration of Assets with the Integrity Commission. We have been very committed to that process. We have passed freedom of information legislation in the Nevis Island Assembly, and whilst that legislation has not yet been operationalized, we have every intention to do so. We have instituted this monthly press conference, again an innovation whose time had come, where members of the press can come and ask questions. We, of course, continue to engage at regular intervals with members of the public whom we serve.
Premier of Nevis, the Honourable Mark Brantley. The Nevis Island Administration continues to seek ways to cut its expenses without compromising the service the government renders and the public servants, who are the NIA's first commitment. Premier and Minister of Finance, the Honourable Mark Brantley, says his government is doing its best to control costs.
We have already revisited some contractual arrangements to streamline the scope of regular payments from the Treasury. There are occasions when workers, particularly those in public works or the water department, the maintenance team at our schools, etc., would be required to work overtime. And overtime pay is something that we feel can be looked at in terms of a cutback. So we have directed that all overtime must now cease until, of course, we have an improvement in our financial condition. Third-party arrangements with trucks, heavy equipment, and other such rentals will also be looked at and be subject to review. We, of course, encourage our truck and heavy equipment operators and owners to try and be competitive in this environment in terms of their pricing.
The reduction in revenue, Premier Brantley explained, has forced the NIA to look at its expenditure to determine where savings can be achieved.
It is time for all of us to recognize the reality that we are dealing with in the island, that with our industry, our main industry, tourism, still closed down, that some difficult days have befallen us, and we expect that there will be more difficulty before we're able to come out on the other side. We have continued to do what we can do to try and stimulate activity, but we have the reality that our main engines, like the Four Seasons, are still offline. And that has an impact on people's jobs and livelihoods and an impact on the government's revenue. And so I want to make that very clear, that we will continue to make those efforts, but we have these exigencies that we're dealing with, and that are just the reality of this life now in Nevis with the onslaught of COVID.
Premier of Nevis, the Honourable Mark Brantley. Earlier today, students of the Joycelyn Liebert Primary School received school supplies from the area representative for the St. George's Parish, the Honourable Eric Evelyn.
Last year, at the beginning of the school year, I would have visited the school, and I would have made a promise that at the beginning of each school year, I will come to the school to make a brief visit just to interact with the students and interact with the teachers, give them some encouragement. Of course, last year I was here and we had that little interaction during assembly. Of course, this year we know we are living under different conditions. We are living in unprecedented times with the challenge of the COVID-19 pandemic. And so this year, the schools are not having any assembly. However, I am back this year to pay a short visit. And I am delighted that this year that I'm not just here just to pay a short visit, and I'm not here empty-handed in 2020. I've come this year and I've come with some gifts that all 177 students of the Joyston Library Primary School will benefit from.
Minister Evelyn presented the stationery to Education Officer with responsibility for the Joyston Library Primary School, Shefton Library, who in turn presented them to the principal of the school, Barbara Hendrickson.
I am indeed very thankful that you have stepped up, Mr. Evelyn, to make this very timely and very welcome donation of school supplies to the school. As long as there is school, there will always be a need for books and pens and pencils and rulers. And so on behalf of the Joyston Library Primary School, I just want to express heartfelt gratitude for this very kind gesture, very meaningful gesture, and to let you know that, of course, we are going to put the supplies to very good use. So again, it's Thankful Thursday, and we are thankful.
One of the students, Tikaje Maynard, also expressed gratitude to the area representative.
Honorable Eric Evelyn, it gives me a great pleasure to say thank you on the behalf of the students of the Joyston Library Primary School for this most generous gift. We are really grateful.
The stationery items include books, pens, pencils, and rulers. A total of 177 students were able to benefit from the donation. Still to come, Gender Affairs Department to host second Women's Entrepreneurship Bootcamp. The details right after this break.
Are you pleasant, hardworking, computer savvy, or meticulous? Would you like to be a part of a dynamic group that is able to capture important data on the communities in Nevis? Well, the Department of Statistics invites all suitable persons to apply to be an enumerator in the upcoming pre-census count and mapping exercise. When? This coming October. Registration forms are available online at niagov.kn/statistics or visit our office upstairs Volume Supermarket to register. So, participate, sign up, or call us at 869-469-5521 extension 5060 for more information. Remember, statistics touches all of us, all of our lives.
¿Tienes ojo para los detalles y hablas muy bien el inglés? ¿Te gustaría ser parte de un grupo dinámico para capturar información importante en las comunidades en Nevis? Bueno, el Departamento de Estadística invita a toda persona adecuada a aplicar a ser un enumerador en el aproximante conteo previo al censo y ejercicio de mapeo. ¿Cuándo? Este aproximante octubre. Formularios de registración están disponibles en línea en niagov.kn/statistics o visita nuestra oficina que queda arriba del supermercado Value Mart. Participa, regístrate o llámanos al 469-5521 extensión 5060 para más información. Recuerda, las estadísticas nos toca a todos.
Welcome back. Almost 30 newly trained compliance and task force officers were admonished by senior members of the police force to take their new positions seriously and to act professionally with safety always in mind. At a brief closing ceremony on September 18th at the Police Training School in St. Kitts, Commissioner of Police Hilroy Brandy welcomed the trainees to the umbrella of national security. He implored the trainees to prepare themselves for the hard work ahead and to ensure that they are ready to dedicate their time and efforts to the job. He warned them about the importance of confidentiality, adding that they can be charged for leaking information. Adolph Adams, Assistant Commissioner of Police with responsibility for operations, also welcomed the trainees to his directorate. He stressed the significant role that each of them will now play as part of the overall COVID-19 response. Force Personnel Officer Clifford Govaya thanked the officers for their time and cooperation over the 2-week period and wished them success in the field. He said as the compliance and task force officers try to secure others in the country, the number one priority is their own safety. He admonished them to be alert and to follow the rules as they discharge their duties professionally. The trainees will be equipped with uniforms and the tools necessary to effectively execute their duties. The Gender Affairs Department is hosting its second Women's Entrepreneurship Boot Camp. The business boot camp is open to all women who are interested in starting their own business. Men are also welcomed to apply. Application forms are available at the office of the Ministry of Health as well as the Gender Affairs Office on Government Road. The registration fee is $25 per person and the deadline for applications is Friday, October 2nd, 2020. For further information, contact the Gender Affairs Department at 469-5521 extension 6750. That's it for this edition of the Nevis Newscast. On behalf of all of us here at the Department of Information, I'm Fredicia Liebert. Thank you for viewing.